making your way in the world today, you really need a pod. Why don't you put your headphones in and give this one a shot? Wouldn't you like to just listen away and go to a place where everybody knows who you are? Listen to two guys BrewHaha, Cold Street Brewery and Full Buddy Cast, two of the greatest names. Why don't you go and listen to this episode? All right, everyone, thanks so much for joining us for another episode of BrewHaha with Sean McDonald and Cold Street Brewery, 1627 Cold Street, put together here in the Full Buddy Cast pod room. I've got Sean McDonald with me, the master brewer, the brewer master, the owner, the connoisseur, the lover, the fighter.
I don't know about all that.
None of that.
I just drink beer.
I just drink beer and brew it.
Yeah, I just make beer.
What is this? What is it that we're drinking right now? It's beer of the week.
So we're coming back around to the Vienna Lager. So I have this beer off and on again at the brewery, and kind of had a little story on that. That's why I brought it tonight. So our mutual friend B-Rad,
yes,
he was traveling around with Craig from Garage Night. They, go on softball trips with the girls, and they, brewery hop, like to check stuff out. And so the B-Rad, every time he goes to a brewery, he's always asking about Vienna Lager and trying to get some. And of course, he always strikes out. So, and he's always like, well, why can't you just go in the back and just make that? So the Vienna Lager, and this is also why it's a beer that I have off and on again all the time. With lagers. Lagers is a German beer, and the term lager comes from cave aging. So back in the day when they didn't have refrigeration, they just stuff it in a dark ass cave and leave it there. Vienna Lager is a dark lager, and kind of the reason why it's a dark lager is because it's back in the day. Again, this is like going from history, not necessarily what we do this day and age, but it's kind of the grains that were more like the secondary grains. They're the grains that they didn't really use before. When they cooked it, they would cook it in actual coal heaters. Yeah. Because they didn't really have stoves. Okay. And so it takes on a little bit of darkness. But people preferred the light lager, so they'd use the light lager grain first, and then the really burnt stuff on the outside that they needed to get that heat to the middle to cook it all. Yeah. That would be kind of the throwaway grain. And so that's kind of partly where porters came from and where Vienna Lager came from. And so it's more of thrown in the back corner. So that's why, like I said, I bring it on again, because I always have it in the fridge, and it only gets better with age. It's a beer that likes to be cold and just stored in a dark place. And so I just keep it in the fridge. And so then when I have an open tap, I can throw it back on. And the thing with it is, when you make it, it takes a long time to do. It takes 6 months, give or take, to actually brew that beer. Now, after that, it's good for a couple of years, but it's that first process. So a lot of breweries don't do it because it takes a long time to get. Too long, and takes up time and energy and storage probably. Yeah. Then when you rip through it, then you're out of it for 6 months.
Now, do you? Is it better served cold? Is it better served room temp? Like, taste-wise, what's the best way to consume it?
With all lagers, the lagers are a really cold beer. That's also with the glassware you should be using. It's a really narrow. That's your stranger glass, your really narrow flute-type glasses, because it keeps all the flavor really condensed, and it tries to keep the coldness really close. Because all lagers, they like to be cold, and they want to stay cold, and they should be served cold. So this one's going to be like, this one's closer to 45 degrees versus the nail's like 50 degrees. 5 degrees sounds like a lot, but or it sounds like not very much, but in beer terms, that's a big temperature change.
So with the Vienna Lager, why is it? What's the Vienna about it? Like, why is
it's the roast. It's kind of the term of how they roasted it. I don't think it's a derogatory term. I think it's just more.
Well, they have Vienna sausage, so I don't know if they threw any Vienna sausages in there.
Yeah, no. It's it has to do with the roasting, just the roast that's on it, just the color and coordination. It's kind of like eggshell white, it's the terminology for it.
Dude,
as far as I know.
I like it. Sorry, I'm about to get weird, and I know we're beer nerdy right now. You look good today, dude. Like I'm talking your
Why? I dressed up.
your vest looks great.
Yeah.
Your hoodie looks good. Your hat looks great. Like you look.
Yeah. I got 2
great.
Cole Street things, and I got the Big Bull from Montana. Big Bull Brewing from Montana.
Old Bull.
Oh, sorry.
I can
Bull.
read it. You can't. You got a beard in your way. I can read it. So
Okay,
Old Bull
Old
Brewing in Montana. Okay.
Yeah. So, what was that? Like a month and a half ago, I took a trip to Montana. We bounced around and hit up some breweries over there. It's got some good beers. This was one of the last stops we stopped at. Really small spot. Great people. But the other thing that I noticed when I was going to all these breweries is they had these really nice vests. I really love this vest.
Mm-hmm. Looks
And every brewery, the price was about the same. So I was like, I kept looking for one that had a really cool logo. I like this logo because it's the state of Montana.
You can see it. It's got that moose on it too.
Yeah.
It looks awesome.
It's an elk, actually, but
That's actually a moose. You
okay.
can't.
Well, you can see it.
Yeah, you can't see through your.
Pretty sure it's whatever. Anyway,
What's a bull? Is a bull an
Elk.
elk? Is a bull?
I was at the brewery where they
Can-
had elk horns hanging on the wall.
Can there
not
be a
horns
moose?
hanging on
Can
the
there
wall.
be a bull moose?
There can be a bull moose.
Okay,
yes.
so maybe it's.
So it
You know what?
could go either
I'm
way.
seeing the elk now a little
I'm
bit
pretty
more.
sure it's an elk.
It probably is.
Uh,
I'm too used to Pokemon. Sorry, I don't know real animals at all.
right, cartoon name.
Yeah.
So anyway, I saw all these vests and I loved them, and I wanted to bring it to my brewery. So eventually I'm like, well, I gotta buy one, and I was like, oh, I love this one. It's got the Montana logo. So I brought it home to try and reproduce it.
Yeah.
And again, I went into all these breweries, and it was all about the same price. It was I want to say it was like $40, give or take. I'm like, that's perfect price. I'd pay that. Same as a sweatshirt, give or take. And but then I got here and I tried to just get the vests alone without doing this embroidery. This is really nice embroidery. It's a lot of stitching.
Yeah.
And just getting the vests alone, I was looking at like $45.
Wow.
So then I have to add the embroidery.
Which is just even to get it first
Yeah.
to get the plate, or not the plate, but how they.
Yeah.
That's a charge, and then on top of that,
Doing all the thread, and then to sell it, I need to mark it up so I make a little bit of money off of it. So I'm looking at like $80, $90 vest. I'm like, that's way too expensive.
how much was it then at
It
Old
was,
Bull?
it was $40.
Oh wow!
I think with tax it was like 42, 43, something like that.
Maybe they bought
under
a
$50, and I'm
machine.
like, that's crazy.
That is nuts.
And like I said, I went to at least 4 different breweries had the same vest with their logos on it. And so,
What were they usually at? Were they 40 as well?
Yeah, they're all the same price.
All 40. Wow.
Yeah, like
Montana's
that's also
the way to
why-
get a vest.
that's why I was looking at all the prices, and I'm like, I should be able to totally do this. But in our state's more expensive.
Pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
we couldn't. But yeah, I love this vest.
Looks good. You know what you could do? And then just
Go to Montana and buy them there, and then
buy them all at Montana. Yeah.
I should just do a collaboration
Yes.
with
Yes.
Old Bull,
Yeah.
and then and put my logo on one side and their logo on the other
Drive
side.
out
right?
there every 3 months, throw some kegs in the back, put them on tap for them. You get some vests in return.
Yeah, trade beer for vests.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just saying. Well, it looks good on you, and I know that as we talk about animals, we talk about looking dressed up. I know you were at another spot today. We haven't talked about hunting in a while.
Yeah, we haven't done hunting stories in a while. So, today it's off season. It's coming to the end of duck season ends the 30th of January. So it's right at the end of the season, and then pretty much every hunting ends like the last day of February, and then starts again in March. So this is also the time of year that you start thinking about next year, and hopefully.
Time out. Hunting. So there's like for 1 month. Wait, you said end of February.
Yeah.
And then what kicks
starts
off March?
March 1st is when you when your license
Expires. Okay.
Renew it.
And then you get dropped in for not lottos. What are those called? Where they?
Yeah, it's so you drop tickets into.
Yeah,
it's like a
it's
it's a
term.
lottery.
Yeah, it's a lottery, and then you might pull like a whatever tag, and then you go and try to get that. So that lasts until whenever that season ends.
Well, yeah. So you can buy your tags March 1st. That's when tags start again, and fishing season, everything game related,
Starts to
fishing
kick off again.
starts March 1st. But actual seasons don't start until specific months.
Like, yeah, okay.
But you can buy your license in March, and then you can figure out where you want to put your tickets. You get so many tickets every year, and every year that you renew, you get more, and you can go into drawings and that sort of thing.
Drawings.
Lotto.
That was it. I was looking for that. My brother's an artist. I should know that.
You can get drawed for special areas and special hunts, which is really cool. You can actually get a big horned sheep, and you can go for moose. There is moose in the state of Washington. Very few.
Well, they found one on the edge of your on the front of your vest,
and you have to draw for it. You can't just go out and hunt it. But anyway, I digress. So I was thinking, I was going into the season, but
what if it's attacking you? What if you're out and there's a cougar attacking you? Or
there's always self-defense, yeah.
So
and you know, you have to prove it's just like murdering a human. Same thing. It's an investigation, so they have to come out. They have to investigate the area where leave it how you killed it, and they investigate it just like a murder of a human being, and then they can determine whether it was self-defense or whether it was manslaughter or whether it was murder.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump into that. Okay,
it'd be the same as anything else.
That's interesting.
Anytime
heck.
you discharge
I'm
fire,
like, yeah, that duck just attacked me, and I had to shoot it with my gun.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I can believe a turkey, but a duck, I don't know. Turkeys can get vicious. Those things, man, they can really get you.
Rabbit went at me.
But anyway, with COVID, ammo has just been a huge thing. Just firearms in general is, I don't know, there's been a lot more control on that, which I agree with a lot of it. I'm not against people that do, but I do not own an SKS or AR or any of those things. The only firearms I own are for certain purposes. They all have a job, and there's certain calibers, and I get certain calibers for certain jobs.
What's a human caliber?
That would be your AR.
When you go hunting humans.
No, to be honest, any caliber, right? It doesn't matter. Any caliber could. So you don't have to have a specific caliber for
True.
that. But that being said, I have an old my old brush gun is a 30-30, and I've had it since I was like 10 years old. But you can't find 30-30 rounds anymore. You can find 308 rounds, and 308 rounds is because it's a really popular round. It's a really popular rifle, but I've never personally owned a 308. I've had a lot of friends that have owned 308s. So I figured I went to the store thinking I'm gonna try and find some rounds. I also have a 338 Win Mag, which is a really big rifle. I should have brought in rounds, and then I could show you the difference. But it's a really, really big firearm. That's for taking down a moose. That's taking down a grizzly bear. That's taking down big animals, not necessarily the little animals.
Now, here's the funny thing. I've never been into guns. Not saying I'm against them. I just never got into them. But I've been playing PUBG. Cousin Aaron, bunch of people, KP back in the day. And so I know what an SKS, I've in the game you loot, and yet it says what the type of
sure, but they're showing you hunting rounds or showing you.
So a Win, you can pick up a Win
Mag,
and it's called a Win. I don't know, maybe it's called, but
Winchester Magnum.
Yeah, Winchester, yeah. And I don't like it, and the reason why is in the game there's so much recoil.
Oh yeah,
you can't really see where your shots landing at, so you don't know.
But it's a really big round. I mean, it's
if
the
it
equivalent
hits,
to
it does a
sniper
good
rifle.
It smacks it good.
Military, yeah.
Okay.
It's a big round, yeah.
I might use it now more.
It smacks it, yeah, good. Like it can put a hole in the side of your house. Like it's a good round.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a really big round that you don't. It's
reserved for the big stuff.
Yeah, you don't just carry it around in the woods. And plus, it's a lot more. It's a lot longer. It's a lot harder to get through the brush with. My little 30-30 is super short, and it's been scratched up its whole life. So I don't care about it. I can shove it in dirt and crap. Versus the big gun, if you get even the slightest particle of dirt in that barrel, then that bullet's not going to be way off.
Oh, really?
It changes the trajectory a lot easier. So anyway, so I went to the store and decided, well, shoot, I guess I'm gonna have to buy a new rifle. So so then I started looking at 308s, and unfortunately there aren't a whole lot of them. And then on top of it, there's I'm not used to this, so I've been a hunter my whole entire life, and I understand there's wait periods on pistols, because that's something that somebody can grab and they can go rob a convenience store with. Same with the ARs and that sort of thing. I 100% respect that, because that's a it can fire a lot of rounds really quickly. I'm looking at a rifle that, it's pow, click, click, pow. I mean, you're not a functional.
Right.
But then they're telling me that it's a wait period for that. I'm not used to that. And you go in and you just buy it. And you leave with the firearm.
Is it for mental health checks? Is it background checks? Like what's the
well?
wait
I mean, that's
for?
the other thing. One, I own an alcohol establishment, so my
Gotcha.
background.
Yeah.
I have a 20-year background check. So both the state and the feds know everything there is to know about me. Anything I do is on a list. And they do that check. They can do that really quick. They just call ATF right away.
Does that go?
FBI.
Does that go through your mind a lot? Like where you're like, let's say that you have to handle a situation even at the brewery, where someone's getting out of line and getting out of control, and this is your brewery. Like this is you've built this. You put your flesh and blood into it, and you got this one guy who could just really ruin it for you, and so you probably got some adrenaline running through you. In the back of your mind, you're also like
That's why I take no shit on it, and I point blank tell them, I'm like, no, this is my business.
Right.
You don't understand. This is not. And there's always that and I do that. I have kind of a little note that I'll give people that says, no, absolutely no more round.
Right.
People will come in like, oh, just one more beer, or I'll just take it to go, and it'll be no. It's not worth the $6 that I'm gonna $7 now that I'm gonna make off of you is not worth risking my business.
Right.
No,
you just lost a customer, and then you're like, oh gosh, where will I ever find one again?
I'm sorry, but if you're the type of customer that's going to jeopardize me, it's not worth it.
So then, are there situations that you're in that you have to remember in the back of your mind? You're like, shoot, if I get arrested for something, it's going to be in my background, and
it could jeopardize. It could jeopardize. Yeah,
not worth it, kind of a thing.
Yeah, especially with the on the firearm side. ATF is it's FBI now, but they when I do my brewery, I have to map out everything, and the whole reason for that is that anytime they can. I always think about this in my mind. I think I've talked about this before, but you have to map out everything, and it has to be precise, like where everything is, because they should be able to raid your place at any time. And your ATF guys that are all stacked up and doing their SWAT team moves need to be able to move into your building and bob and weave between everything and know exactly where everything is. That's why it has to be very precise. Like you can get fined and reprimanded for having a tank
off.
Yeah, tank even a foot off,
or forgetting to put a utility room in there, or forgetting to put like any of that crap.
Anytime I change anything, anytime I add equipment, I have to add that to my map. Yeah, it's very specific, and that has to do with all of that, and that is always in the back of my mind too. Is I have staff that think it's better if we move this to here and that, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, but I'm going to have to file that paperwork.
Yeah.
And before we can actually do it, we have to wait till we get a response. There's a lot more to it than just, it's one of those behind the scenes things that a lot of people don't realize how specific they are. It's crazy. It's kind of crazy. Like, why are they so specific about this?
Anyway, sorry. I got more I got something I really want to ask you. I don't want to derail where you're going though. Are you sure?
Yeah,
I'm
good.
Are you wrapped up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving into hunting season and just having to buy a new firearm because you can't find ammo for the ones that I got.
And so what are you going after right now then?
Well, I'm just getting ready for going into deer season, bear season, and spring bear. I drew for spring bear and turkey season. So I'm getting ready for that and then going into the deer season. I'm going to go modern rather than bow this year. It's just I don't have as much time to hit the woods for bow, so I have to get a firearm in order to do that.
To make sure you're ready for it.
Yeah.
When are your dues to Washington State for being the liquor board or whatever that's called?
It's funny that you bring it up.
Yeah.
But, well, we're recording a week before this comes out, but it was due exactly today. Yeah.
did you see anything go up? I mean, I know inflation's a factor. Are you seeing, it's
Yeah. So,
you don't have to go into super deep. I don't know what you can and can't talk about, but I just don't know if you're noticing things are going up.
it's definitely gone up, but it's gone up because they've added different things to it. So it's not that my license. It did kind of go up, but that's normal. There's a little bit of inflation. I forget, it's like a 10% or 20% raise, so it's not a whole lot, but that did go up a little bit. But then on top of it, there's new added things to it. I never had a health department license that I had to actually file for. Now yearly, I have to pay the health department, even though the health department really doesn't have any say in it. I'm like a level 1, which means that I have to have a hand wash sink and hand wash sinks in my bathroom. I mean, and I have to have a mop sink and a floor sink. So I have to have like 4 things that are super simple that as a brewer, I would have those things anyway.
Just for, functionality. So,
so it doesn't change anything else, but it is an added tax. So I'm paying an extra $300 a year for what? For nothing.
Is the health department that comes through to the restaurants and gives them an A grade or a B grade or all that?
Yeah.
Do you get a grade because you're a level 1? And
I don't. Nope.
Okay.
Like I said, the health department actually doesn't really. They can stop in and say hi, but they don't really have anything on me. Especially right now, I'm using at the courier. I use single-use disposable, so I don't have a dishwasher. I'm not rewashing dishes or anything. So that they'd come in and they'd verify that to make sure that I'm, my sanitation is correct and all that.
Yeah.
At the brewery, I do serve glass there, but that was because I had a dishwasher there for all my brewing equipment. So I wash all my different equipment. I have to have it. It's connected to it. And that goes with that brewery license versus the tap room is a different license that's completely separate and different levels of stuff.
So as we've seen, there's a supply chain, that kind of goes in and out because we've got some stuff that's built up and then we've got shipping crisis everywhere.
I just had an issue with my cups too.
That's what I was going to ask you. Your single use, are you seeing those things starting to fall off?
For sure. So I order from the same people. And they always bring it in like whatever weekly. And I got these boxes. They look like the same boxes, but then I pulled the cups out and they were not the same cups. They were a lot thinner. They're a lot taller, and they had a huge lip on them. So a couple of people complain like they almost cut your lip. Like really big. And so I ran through like one box of it, but I just kept getting complaints. And I'm like, and it was really thin. So when you went to pick it up and you squeeze it, when you squeeze it, it almost overflows. Yeah, because you're squeezing it just to grab it because it's not very thick.
Is it the same? Is it the same volume as the other ones? So you have to fill it all the way. In a sense, typically,
each cup is different. That's always been a thing when I get new glassware. I measure out. I take a measuring glass and I pour it in there to see where it is. Because while I order 16-ounce glasses, each one is not the same. Like sometimes they're 16.8, sometimes they're 16.2, 16.1 means that you have 0.1 over 16 ounces in your glass. So it's like literally you have to fill it right to the very, very top. And I'm like, that's not how I want to serve beer. And it's kind of frustrating a lot of times because they don't really specify that until you get it. You kind of have to learn that on the fly.
Is there thought to just going with glass at the brewery, or is it too convenient to have plastic because you're so close to a street that people go out to the street but to the around you have that seating area in the front, and then you got a big open expanse where you don't want things breaking and cracking.
I have 3 concerns. One, right now with still COVID restrictions and that sort of thing, it is much easier to do single-use disposable. I don't have the health department breathing down, like coming in and checking on me and double checking, like. And they don't.
Now that you've said that, they'll be there this week.
I know. I try not to open that door up. By doing glassware, I would. And then, like you said, another reason is when there's the big events, it's really easy for somebody to just not really pay attention and wander off with one of my glasses. So
and plastic,
down there,
who cares?
Yeah, plastic, I don't care. But my glasses, I'll be going through glassware really quickly. Yeah, and that's an expenditure that's going to eat me up. And then, like you said, going outside, you're supposed to stay behind my chains, but there are an awful lot of people that take it out. The street's closed and they take it out in the street. And then if it's glass, they might drop it and break it. I've cleaned up plenty of glass out there that's come from the other restaurants or from people bringing from home. And I just don't want to contribute to that and make that a big thing.
Another thing, yeah. Well, that makes sense. Now, I know we've talked about VIP quite a bit. By the way, my wife joined as a VIP. I'm super excited.
She gets a +1, so when she brings in one of her friends, I mean, you're going to have to pay for your own.
Oh, bummer.
So
have you ever done, and I'm not saying this is the $1 million idea. I know we've talked about this, but this is not the $1 million idea. But I know this chart up here that you have. You bought a poster like a year ago for me, put it in the pod. It's actually at the brewery as well. There's another one there. And it gives you a list of all these different ales and lagers, and they break out into different ones because everything kind of keeps moving forward. People experiment and do this, that.
Yeah,
but there's also on the bottom, there's all these different glassware that goes the best with these drinks. So you were talking earlier, the flute with the...
Well, and that's where I brought in...
You brought a ton in here.
And I should have been more specific when we poured this one because you do have a stranger glass, you do have a tall flute glass, you do have some skinny lager glasses.
And so my question is, do you have extra of this glassware? And if you do, have you ever done like, you know what, I just brewed a lager and I'm going to have a VIP event where we're drinking out of flute glasses or something.
That's a really good idea.
Or maybe with the comedy night, everyone's gonna be able to sip it and drink it the way it should be.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Again, not the $1 million idea, but
could be a good idea. It's just getting all those glasses and
right. I don't know if you have any extra glassware throughout the years that people just donate or pick up. I mean, and all that stuff. So
with that, it'd be easier just purchase it and put my logo on it and then sell it.
Ooh.
If you want to come to this event, you're buying the glass, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah. I like that. See?
That is a good idea. That's not $1 million idea, but that's a pretty good
that's
idea.
That's like a couple $100 dollar idea.
You're giving me a couple $100 for the idea?
Oh, yeah. As soon as we square up. But there, I was thinking about this today, actually this weekend. On the football during the football games, they play the Cheers. There's a commercial that plays a Cheers song.
I know. I keep forgetting to bring up our theme song.
And our theme song, it just like I almost like our theme song more than the original.
I know.
Cheers song.
I can't believe you don't play it in the background. I mean,
I've
been trying to convince you to do that for.
See, I don't know how to do that. I just know how to edit it in. But
you get a tape recorder and you put it right here and you press play. Pretty darn easy.
But you think about Cheers, think about TV sitcoms, and I love, just me and Jamie are kind of getting back into like streaming TV shows and all that. But at Cheers, the thing was that there's always something drama-esque or romantic-esque, but you had typically people talk about their day, rant, or joke, or whatever, and you'd have that bartender that polishes the glass and pours and listens.
Yep.
Can you be my bartender for a moment, and I can just kind of like polish a glass?
Do you have a rag?
I don't, but can I just kind of?
I can use one of these sweatshirts.
Let's just see how I know that we've done interviews with some of your these sweatshirts. We use some of these people that come in and that work for you or have worked for you, and we give them the interview to see if they get the job. But I'm gonna see if you get the job right now. You be the. Perfect.
Okay.
What?
See if I get the job.
Yeah. I mean, that's middle school. I was in the choir in middle school, guys. Give this one a shot. Wouldn't you like to just listen away? Yeah, see, I did this off the top of my dome.
And go to a place where
everybody knows who you are.
Dun, 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 dun. Two guys BrewHaha. And full buddy cast. Greatest names. This episode, so good. I mean, off the top of the dome.
Yeah.
I don't understand this episode or this pod. We gotta. I mean, just restart it. Let's listen to it together. We should do like, you know how they do back in the day for CDs, movies. They'd have the director's cut where you'd listen to the director talk about the movie, and we did this scene.
Oh yeah, we could do. We have talked about doing like the greatest of or something like that.
Yeah,
like
we should just sit down and just talk about it. But
we should grab clips. Like you should grab a clip, then I'll grab a clip. We'll go every other one.
Talk about it. You know, here's the thing.
I'll just bring up every time. I'm like, "Where's the haha?
You're,
Where's the haha?"
You know what? You're also avoiding the thing. I was about to grill you as a bartender for a moment, or beer tender for a moment, and then now you're distracting me. Okay, so you're polishing the glass.
Okay,
what's your
got
opening?
my glass.
And I'm new. I've never been there before.
No. Oh,
you scream in my ear.
yeah.
What is it that you come and say? Like let's say it's
Well,
like
first of all, I get you a beer.
yeah, absolutely.
Hey, can I get you a beer?
Oh yeah.
What would you like?
You know, I like that lager. That Vienna Lager looks delicious. Can I get one of those?
Here's a Vienna Lager.
Perfect. Is it? Oh,
Cheers.
Cheers. I noticed it's not in a flute. But so okay, yeah. So I'm just sitting here, and then you.
So how you got?
Why are you?
Where are you from?
What are you? Why are you talking like you're down south? Like you sound like.
What are you talking?
You sound like Bobby Bush. Okay, so one
They
more.
talk a lot slower.
Okay, let's do
They
that.
talk real slow.
Yeah, but you were talking like this, oh man.
Because it's really
Hey, where you go? Hey, where are you
and
away from?
sticky.
I feel like
down
you're
there.
super nervous right now, and I want you to calm down.
I feel like
You need to slow it
I
down.
feel like you need to drink more beers.
Okay, so
sir.
I'm drinking some beer.
'Kay.
All right, so what's
Okay.
your opening question?
How's it going?
Sucks.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Where are you from?
Suckville. It's the worst.
That doesn't sound like it's from around here.
It's not, but it will be soon because let me just tell you, I moved from California and it sucks in California. And it's going to be sucky
it's
here
getting
soon.
hot down there.
Well, it's not the heat. It's just the political movement down there. I mean, they got trains right now. They're getting robbed. I mean, they don't know what's up or down. I mean, everyone's leaving.
Oh,
Sucksville.
yeah. Pacific Northwest is pretty nice. It's pretty green up here.
Yeah, it is pretty green. I like your vest. Looks good. Hey, so why are you bothering me? I just want to drink my beer. Do you ever?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, let me throw you a splash.
Do you ever
Have a great night
do you
on
ever,
the porch.
I know that you're not the most. I don't know if gregarious is a word, but you're not the most person that's gonna go walk up and like high five and chest bump somebody and get. But super outgoing. But do you?
I'm not super outgoing.
Not super outgoing. You are.
I feel
Listen,
like I'm a pretty friendly guy.
well, you're friendly and you're outgoing, but you're not like, hey everyone, how's everyone doing tonight? You're not that type of guy.
I'm not no Wayne Christensen.
You're not the Wayne Christensen is right. In fact, we need to make T-shirts that say, "You ain't no Wayne Christensen," and a lot of people would go, "I'm cool with that. I'm okay with that. Actually, that's a good thing." But anyway, do you usually approach newbies the first time if you've never seen them before? Do you usually get them a beer and then like, hey, so where are you from? Or do you kind of let them just enjoy the vibe of the place?
It depends on their vibe. So if they're hanging out there on their phone, kind of doing their own thing, I leave them alone because then they want to do their own thing. But if they're kind of looking around, or they look like they have some questions, or if I hear them kind of like talking amongst themselves and they're like, oh, where should we go next?
Yeah,
I'll throw out some ideas, tell them like where the next brewery is and where the restaurants are, that sort of thing. Good place to go hiking, all those things. But it's all about the vibe. I don't just butt in.
True.
I'd rather not get that sort of conversation that you just tried to throw at me, Mr. California Political.
I just wanted to see how you do.
Well, it's a good thing you got out of there.
It's a good thing you got out of there.
Seeing as California sold its water to a private company. That was the smartest move ever.
Man, I'm dying. Amanda Keating, on the last episode that we released, talked about how I love how Sean McDonald promotes everything local, even if it doesn't have anything to do with the brewery or what's going on in his world. Love the enthusiastic support. And then I
Love to,
removed
man.
her and banned her. I don't want her commenting like that. I don't want her. I'm the good guy here. I kind of you could be
That's
good
a pretty
too.
nice comment. I mean,
It was a
really
great,
nice.
thoughtful, nice comment. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's just it's something that needs to be done. So do it. I don't
Do
know.
it. Do it to it, Lars.
I don't know. Don't matter to me.
Yeah.
You know, it all comes back around. Even if somebody's doing an event next door, I mean, Headworks does. So the other night, so this is a great example. So Monday night, Headworks does open mic night. Well,
They'd probably let me tell some jokes.
so it's a.
They'd probably let me go up there and tell some jokes.
I'm pretty sure it's like singing.
They'd probably still let me go up there and tell some jokes.
I don't think there's jokes, but you can try. I don't know exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's just singing, and they have
Interesting.
people with instruments and music.
Have to check this out.
But the Little League, the local Chinook Little League, was trying to do their, so they have their tryouts this coming up weekend. So they were trying to do like a game planning sort of thing. But you can't really do a meeting and that sort of
During,
place while there's music and
yeah,
distractions. And so they called me up.
Headworks or Rainier?
No, the Chinook.
Okay.
Chinook Little League.
Okay, all right.
One of their board members called me up and happens to be a good friend of mine, and he's like, "Hey, is it all right? We have a couple of our kids with us, and I know that you're not 21, but we can't really go over here. We don't want to go to a restaurant. Can we help us out?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, right now I'm actually closed because I'm closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. But I mean, is it a decent sized group? I can come down and open up for you." And they're like, "Oh, that would be great." And because it's a private event.
It could be whatever age because no one's just roaming in.
Yeah, it's not the public. It's just a private event.
Like a wedding.
Yeah. So then I came down in there and opened it up for them. I feel like that needs to be a supported thing. Where,
For sure.
Somebody, I'm only closed because it's super slow. They bring in a group of 15 people. I know that
You will open Monday night.
Yeah. I have 15 people. On a normal Monday night, I have 2 people. That's not worth being open.
Right.
So
are you saying then, I mean, obviously you probably want a little bit more of a heads up.
Yeah.
Like you don't.
Oh, for sure.
But and then
But
you're a
definitely-
good friend with someone. But if so right now, Mondays and Tuesdays, currently, again, we're recording this in January, February. Everyone is listening in June and July.
Yeah.
Currently, Monday and Tuesday are closed. But if you have, what's your not saying money wise, but what's your person like? Are you saying like, because what if 2 people are like, yeah, me and him want to?
I've said it before. I have a 10-pint rule.
Okay.
So 10 pints an hour is what my
Going rate is
my average. I need to be selling 10 pints an hour.
Okay.
To make it worthwhile being open. So if you want to come in, if you have a group like this group of 10 to 15 people, and they're going to stay for 2 hours, they're buying 2 rounds. That's pretty easy for 15 people.
Now, can people order pizza and do a pizza? Like we're gonna eat pizza and we're gonna drink. I mean,
you can bring in food. I have a menu, a short menu from everybody around me, but that does not matter to me if you get food from somebody else. If you're catering it yourself, you're bringing in potluck style.
Mazalon.
That's fine.
Bringing Mazalon in.
Yeah. Any of that's fine. I have no problem with that.
Right.
You can't bring in your own. You can if you bring in your own alcohol. You just have to bring it. Now, mind you, you can't have hard alcohol, but beers, wines. I don't have a big selection of gluten free, so some people might want to bring in their own gluten free beer. You just have to bring that to the bartender or beer tender, and then we have to just make sure that you don't get over intoxicated. So we control it.
Right.
But we can pour it for you, and we don't have
do
a
some
charge
tips
for that.
and all that. Now, and when it's a private event and you have kids, it's cool to bring in Pepsis and juice boxes and all that, whatever that is wise. Yep. Cool. Well, right on. All right. Well, that's good to know. I mean, have you ever? Let's say someone wants to do a fantasy football draft, right? Mm-hmm. This is way in advance. Right?
I had thought about doing that and setting up and actually having a whole setup where we provided like the podium and I had thought about doing all of that and setting it all up. It's just I feel like there's an awful lot of people that just like doing that at home.
Yeah.
And it's also that mix where I've been to a lot of drafts where there's some people that get over intoxicated.
Yeah.
Just in order to have fun with that sort of thing.
Right.
We can't have that in that situation. And so I've definitely played with that idea and I am open for it. There just has to be some parameters and some rules already set before we get into a trouble spot where I have to come and, regulate.
I want to ask a clarifying question here. Okay. Now I'm a little bit frustrated where I went for my 40th birthday. A little frustrated where I went for my 40th birthday. Except it was a Friday night, and I think the brewery was still open for, at that point, possibly. So wait, are you saying that if I got like 15, 20 people together, it wouldn't cost me anything to rent out an area as long as I'm like, hey guys, we need to be just make sure.
Well, to be clear,
I want to be clear on this.
Yeah, to be clear, renting out the brewery location, totally open for that. Renting out the courier building on a Friday and Saturday, okay. that becomes a little dicey because we can get really packed down there,
right.
and really crowded, and having private party. So in that case, you'd have to guarantee me money because I've done that before where I put a reserved table, and then they tell me that they're showing up with 20 people and only 5 people show up,
right?
And I have a table and an area designated for 20 people. That's a big space. Or they say they're going to be there at 6 and then their dinner ran long and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
They don't get there till 7:30. I sat here for an hour with people just staring like, why can't we sit at that table? Can we just sit there until the people get here? Well, they should have already been here.
Right.
I guaranteed them that it would be here. And so that's where it gets really dicey with that.
Yeah.
With the brewery location, I have no problem with that.
Now, does it cost money to rent it though? Is it like $100 an hour? Is it
nope.
$50?
It's the 10-pint rule.
Just keep drinking, but within reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we did ever that when it was closed, if it was ever closed, and we said, hey,
on Mondays and Tuesdays, that would be fine.
At the courier,
the courier would be fine.
But the brewery, if it's closed, because you're not open until the summer for the for the brewery.
Yeah. You have to let me know ahead of time so that I can make sure that I can schedule.
That's huge. Because
I have to have somebody help me one place or the other. I have to have a beer tender.
You go to some places and they're like, oh yeah, that's fine. We can accommodate it, but it's going to be, $500 or $300. Here, it's just like go there, drink the beer, order pizza, or get it catered, and then you could do like trivia. You could do fantasy football draft. You could do birthday party. You could do wedding reception. Like there's a lot of different things you could do. Can you play music at these places? Like get a DJ?
If you're bringing your own music and you're providing that, then that's on you. It's the same as the potluck sort of situation.
Yeah.
You are providing it. I'm not providing it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And that's where I've taken some pictures at the brewery. I've had so many different parties that come in there and they set up the room so differently. Like, I have a huge space down there where we can completely clear the floor in the middle so you can have some dancing room. You can bring in some cornhole and play cornhole in there. There's plenty of room for games and that sort of thing. But then on the flip side, I've had people that have made it into kind of like a H-shaped tables.
Yeah.
So that everybody's kind of facing each other. So you're not like on the sides, not looking long, like trying to look all the way to the other end of the table. Instead, you're all straight across from each other. It's like a horseshoe sort of table.
You're more interactive.
Yeah, and so there's and that's where if you have the idea, just come and talk, and we can kind of just spitball it, and I can give you some of my ideas, and then and you can give me your ideas, and we can meet in the middle somewhere, make it work. Totally possible, totally feasible.
Nice.
You got plenty of room for people. Plenty of opportunity. Just coordination.
All right, well, get a hold of Sean. VIP February only. Yep. So when this is released, this will be in February-ish. You have 1 month to get it. Yep. Go get it. It's $200.
It's $250 for
$250.
Brand new member.
And then you get a nice
name plaque. Yep.
Name plaque. You get taken care of. My wife. Now, I don't know if this is a thing. I don't know if it was a miss pour or what, but you like to take care of your VIPs. So there are times where if you miss pour, you can take your $1 off or $2 off for that miss pour and then bring it over to a VIP who's sitting there, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I was just saying, like you can, because they get their little discount from whatever they would. Yeah. So
discount. Yeah.
So
wines are discounted. Depends on which wine it is.
That's service. Like you don't have to go up there and order it. He's just if it happens.
Yeah.
If it happens.
And then on busy nights, we VIP use the sidebar. So you're VIP. So we know
they
what you
get to skip the line.
We already know what you drink, so we can just pour it for you and set it on the sidebar. you have to still come and get it. We can't deliver it to you.
Right. But you can skip the line.
Yeah, because you're VIP.
So walk up and they know, hey, just a wave, and you're like, yeah, I know exactly what he wants. So I'm going to pour this person as a customer, pour you.
I've said it 1,000 times.
I'm so impressed right now.
The only reason why the line takes as long as it is because people can't decide what they want.
Yeah.
I have 5 hands. There's 9 taps. I can pour a beer on each tap. That's not the part that takes the while. It's the decisions. People don't know what they want, and they want to hem and haw and sample and
get crazy with it.
Versus a VIP, they come in, they already know. Maybe there's one new beer, but for the most part, they've already tried most of the beers, so they know what one they want. As long as I know what you want, I can get it for you.
Nice. Well, we're at the end of the episode. Any shout outs before we go?
Oh,
I know it's hard.
Shout outs. Chris Scott shots.
I'll tell you this right now. Chris Struley got super excited, and then it went to someone else.
Shots. SCHOTT. Shots.
Shots.
I should ask him how to pronounce his last name. But great guy. Always bringing me business down. He has a construction. He's grew up here and has a little construction company.
Is he from Enumclaw or is he from around the area?
I believe he went to Unicla High.
Okay, all right. Because I do some shots over in Maple Valley, so I didn't know if there was some Maple Valley shots over there. It's kind of spelled the same way. Yeah. But anyway, so he does some construction around here. He said,
shots construction. Yep.
And and the shout out is because he
brings business to me. He was the one that called me up for the Little League.
Oh, so, nice! Yeah. Oh, I thought it would be someone else in my brain, but that's exciting. That's great. Yeah. Cool. Well, definitely shout out for him. I'm going to do a shout out to Amanda Keating. Amanda, I appreciate you being a Patreon. I appreciate you commenting. I love, and Holly does this too, and a few others, Desi, but I love Amanda. I really do. And anyone else that's listening that will quote in quotations something from the episode that was funny or maybe cool.
Yeah. So Travis can have some actual
yeah.
Ha.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
That was funny.
That was funny.
That was really funny.
Really funny.
I'm funny guy here.
I bring the ha-ha.
See, I need that, though. I like that. You've done that in other episodes as well. That not just BrewHaha, but I appreciate you highlighting something that you, and then you shout out Sean, obviously. You did the same thing. Talked about how.
That's why I miss the guests. They always bring in ha-ha. We need to have it. Next week, we're going to have a guest.
We'll see. Everyone, thanks so much for listening. Have a great week. And real quick, Super Bowl. Oh, wait, we're not. I mean, who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl? Because we're recording before the AFC and NFC Championship.
Yeah, I thought Buccaneers were, but
me too.
I guess not.
I thought Bucks and Bills, and I lost both.
Well, I thought KC and Bills, or KC and Bucks. Yeah.
So you're thinking KC still,
yeah, and
yeah. I'm going AFC. I'm rooting for AFC no matter what. I want the do I root for the do I have the Niners win so then they can lose another Super Bowl, because that would kill a lot of people because on their quest for 6 they've gotten close but can't get it. Yeah. Or do I root for the Rams just because I hate the Niners? But I'm going to definitely root for the Bengals or the Chiefs no matter what. No matter what, I'm going to root for them. Yeah. So
yeah.
Hey, go AFC teams. And I know Garrett Duvall probably wants me to go for the Chiefs. I don't know anyone who's a Bengal fan.
He's a New England fan. Oh, wait, no, he was a Browns fan. Wait, no.
He's a Chiefs fan.
He's a Chiefs fan right now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right, because they won a Super Bowl. Okay. Okay. That's right. I remember. I forgot.
I thought you were Yankees? Yeah. Cowboys?
Oh, yeah, he was.
Lakers?
Was it Tampa Bay?
Yeah. Whoever wins is what you're saying. I love it. Sean talking the crap. I love it. All right, everyone, thanks so much for listening. Who's your Super Bowl? Say it.
No.
Chiefs and?
Chiefs.
You don't like the NFC right now.
The Chiefs are going to win.
Okay, all right. Chiefs going all the way. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great week and take care.
All right, cheers.
Making your way in the world today, you really need a pod. Why don't you put your headphones in and give this one a shot? Wouldn't you like to just listen away and go to a place where everybody knows who you are? Listen to Two Guys BrewHaha, Cold Street Brewery and Full Buddy Cast, two of the greatest names. Why don't you go